Hello, and welcome to my first bookcast. Today we're going to be talking about The Hunger Games, written by Suzanne Collins. The Hunger Games are a series of 4 novels written by the author. The first book is titled The Hunger Games. The second book is titled Catching Fire. The third book is Mockingjay, and the fourth book is a prequel about serious villain President Snow called The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. The book series are New York Times bestsellers and are often banned from schools and libraries due to its content. But I think this played a role of why the series is a New York Times bestseller. Because when you tell a kid they can't read a book because they banned it, they're going to figure out a way to read the book that they're going to question, why won't they let me read it? I want to read the book and find out why. Which is why so many books are most likely on the New York Times banned books on the New York Times bestseller list. The Hunger Games follows Katniss Everdeen as she volunteers for Sister Prim in the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is an annual event for punishment for the 12 districts of Panem after their failed rebellion. The failed rebellion towards the capital, in which rules the country Panem, resulted in the destruction of the 13th district. District 13, and the citizens of Panem have to offer up in tribute one young man and woman to fight to the death. Only the districts are allowed to do this. The capital children are spared. The children are between the ages of 12 to 18, and Katniss is 16 years old. I will tell you when I'm going to do a spoiler alert for the book, but so far this is not a spoiler because this is actually a summary of what happens. So, when Katniss Everdeen does volunteer for her sister Prim, she does so out of love for her, and she's from District 12, the poorest district. This is what I'm going to issue the spoiler alert for the first book. So this is your spoiler warning. If you want no more spoilers, stop watching the video. If you want to keep watching the video, go right ahead. Anyway, Katniss Everdeen lives in the poorest district in Panem, District 12, which produces the coal. Sadly, Katniss lost her father, who was the main provider for the family, in a mine explosion, and this resulted in her mother going into a very dark depression, leaving her to care for her sister Prim and her mother. Sadly, Katniss does elite hunting in District 12 in order to provide for her family, either for trading or for eating. Sadly, eating. But she does this illegally because hunting is not allowed in District 12. Because Katniss says it's a source for freedom and escape, and she's allowed to show her personal thoughts with her best friend Gale. Gale is another main character in the series, as Gale is actually older than Katniss because he's 18 years old. So in the first book, he's actually in his last year for the reaping. Before when he turns 19, he'll go off for work in the mines. He'll go off for work in the mines. Katniss and Gale have a great bond, and we see Katniss bond very early throughout the film, and Katniss is confident that their friendship is simply friendship, platonic, no romantic feelings is going to happen. But then we meet Peeta. Peeta is Katniss's District 12 partner. He's the male tribute for the games. He actually has been in love with Katniss his entire life since he was 5 years old, but doesn't tell Katniss this until the interviews the day before the games. So this causes Katniss to be confused of why Peeta would do this. She's convinced throughout the whole book, so this is once again a spoiler alert for the first book, that her feelings for her are fake. Unfortunately, she finds out near the end of the book by a heartbroken Peeta that the feelings are actually very genuine and that he actually does love her. This leaves Peeta completely heartbroken because Katniss believed the feelings were fake, but sadly they were in fact totally real. Poor Peeta is left heartbroken and Katniss is in a tormented position. And Catching Fire, this is spoiler alert for Catching Fire, Katniss has to face the repercussions of her actions. You see, in the Hunger Games, only one is allowed to go home. So the fact that both Peeta and Katniss survived the arena and are true victors makes the citizens wonder, why are they fighting in the first place? What's happening? So of course, this leads to the first film. This leads to the second book. Katniss has to contain the rebellion and tries to extinguish it. Because President Snow warns her if she doesn't do this, then the people that she loves will be in danger. And sadly, And sadly, President Snow does not go after her family, but her District 12 as a whole, making higher prices on food, delaying food shipments, and of course, hurting Gale, her best friend. Throughout the book, we see Gale and Katniss get closer, and Katniss realizes that Gale actually does have romantic feelings for her. But she's still confused. Does she feel the same way about Gale? Because her feelings for Peeta are so complex. Instigating the love triangle that happens in Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay, with Katniss ultimately making her choice in Mockingjay. I won't say her choice, but I do believe Katniss did make the right one. In Catching Fire, Katniss actually goes back to in her horror, Katniss actually has to go back to the arena, but this time with other victors. First time she was with other kids. Sure, there were like six other kids who were trained, because in the books, districts 1, 2, and 4 actually can actually train for the games. Katniss winning is because of her bow and arrow. One, because of her bow and arrow and natural intelligence. This allowed her to win, but not just with other people, trained victors who have been training for years. Some of these victors have more pounds than her. This makes things even harder, especially when she makes a choice to make sure that Peeta goes home instead of her this time. Because Haymitch, the other victor and the other District 12 victor, made the choice to keep Katniss alive. So that means Haymitch and Katniss are Peeta's dead, and they want to make sure he's kept alive because he is the most valuable. So that set out the fest for Catching Fire. We'll meet other characters to become important in Mockingjay: President Snow, Bridget Lettier, Finnegan Goddard, Johanna Mason, and several other characters. In Mockingjay, Katniss escapes the arena by blowing it up. But this also leads to Peeta being captured by the Capitol, and Katniss finds out that District 13 is very much alive, and the war is taking place, and the Rebellion War is taking place. In A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I will not show any spoilers for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes because it has recently come out, and not all fans of the Hunger Games have read the book. So, the book actually follows President Cordelia Snow and President Snow in his early life. President Snow is the main villain throughout the series. He's shown briefly in Hunger Games, but is because of major antagonists in Catching Fire and Mockingjay. And in the book, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, we get to see his feelings. We get to see how this started. What fueled the seed for him to become this major antagonist for Katniss, when events from his past played a big role. A lot of fans did not like the idea that the prequel novel was going to be about President Snow, but I personally liked it, and I did like to see the inside of the character. But I won't say any spoilers from this book because this has recently come out. The Hunger Games is actually inspired by Suzanne Collins after she was TV channel surfing one night, and images of war began to mix in with images of reality TV. It also is based on her love of Greek mythology. As a child, she was horrified of the story of Theseus and the Minotaur, where the people of Athens have to send 7 boys and 7 girls to the labyrinth, which is basically a giant maze, to be sacrificed to the Minotaur. This actually sends Theseus to decide he's going to go and slay this Minotaur, and he does. But this actually fueled it. If you notice, Katniss volunteers so she can volunteer the game to save her sister. And this is where similarities come into Greek mythology. Katniss is loosely based on Theseus, but the fact that she uses a bow and arrow and she's a hunter, this draws parallels to Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. And that makes her a much amazing character, considering how Artemis is often depicted with a bow and arrow, like Katniss is in most posters for the Mockingjay, and in the Hunger Games movie posters, and in the books, an arrow is and in the books, her skill complement with the bow and arrow is very common. Katniss is a very popular female character, with the French braid becoming a symbol. Also, the fact is, she's the main female hero. While Katniss, she's saving both Gale and Peeta's lives on multiple occasions in the books, which means their roles are reversed. Overall, The Hunger Games is a dystopian series with a good sense of female empowerment, and it makes you wonder and with a great sense of wonder and excitement that after you read the first book, you do not want to put it down. Thanks for my bookcast. Bye!